No, I was thinking of Deadwood, the show, the show, and I said rosewood, like a tree. I guess.
I was just ready for you. It's like, yo, pine, fucking nefarious. Nefarious is not a tree.
Nefarious trees. That nefarious ass tree. I like fucking that skeezy looking ass tree down there. That tree's up to
you
no
love
good,
evil
kid.
trees.
All right.
It's just like, oh man, I don't fuck with those trees, dog.
Yeah.
Yo, they nefarious.
Those are nefarious.
No, won't stop. The way that I keep to deliver.
SJ.
I'ma make these haters reconsider.
PPC.
I kick back,
Oh,
stay
yeah.
high up for life.
Oh, yeah.
And I won't stop.
I won't stop, I can't stop, even if I try. I won't stop, I can't stop, even if I try. I won't stop, I can't stop, even if I try. Even if I try.
Hello, and welcome to Y'all Boys Talkin', a podcast about nonsensical improvement where each week we not only talk about bettering ourselves, but how we can help you better yourself by hearing us better ourselves. My name is Frank Hernandez.
And I'm Maximo Santana.
And Joshua Jean-Baptiste is helping a friend move, and while Steve Della Valentina is out in Denver with his wife. So welcome to the first ever New York only edition of Y'all Boys Talkin', aka Desus and Miro. But unlike Desus and Miro, the four of us have come up with a philosophy that we like to call STTT, straight to the top. Max, I don't know how to come up with one of those things that Josh does, where he's like underwater and a palm tree and shit like that. But if I were to
there's always
ask
palm
you,
trees.
It's
So
always
just
a
involve a palm tree and then like some sort of sentient underwater being. And then you'll pretty much be right there.
and it's just close enough. But if I were to just walk up to you on the street and ask you, "Hey Max, what does STTT mean?" What would you say?
STTT is like designing a great board game. See, you're going to need some solid win conditions, aka a goal. Gotta have the end pointed out first. All right. You're also going to need some variety, some diversity, some dice.
Ooh.
Just to make it spicy. All right. Got to give yourself something to look forward to. And you're going to need some good old moolah, some good old money. Whatever motivates you, whatever in-game currency, call it wheat, call it ore, call it cash, call it game bucks.
Game bucks.
Game bucks. Whatever you want to call it, that motivates you to go a step further when everything else is just not enough. You put that all together, you got yourself a solid board game, you got yourself a path to the top. You can achieve your goals once you put all those three things together, and that is STTT.
BEA, beautiful. Now, for those who are missing Steve and Josh, we will be catching up with them a bit later in our challenge checkup. But for now, let's talk about how we ended up in this situation real quick. Let's just touch on that real quick before we get to our first segment, STTT of the week. We'd like to give a little STTB real quick to our very own Maximo Santana.
This segment is unnecessary.
Max, why would we be throwing an STTB?
Because for the second time this calendar year, I booked a flight for the wrong dates. I looked at the calendar and I missed. And then I spent hundreds of dollars predicated on that miss.
So that'll be our tease that we'll hear a bit more in our Rosebud Thorn later on. But first, let's get to our STTT of the week.
Ooh.
Cue noise.
STTT of the week.
Noise? It's a noise, Frank?
Look, all right, Josh knows how to do this, all right?
It's just a bunch of crashing. It's just cacophony.
Cue various noises that happen here. STTT of the week is where we talk about a person, place, or thing that has inspired us over the past week. This week, it goes to the Yale climate protesters at Harvard. Max, take it away.
Yeah, so this week, hundreds of Harvard and Yale students stormed the field at halftime at the biggest game of the year for both of their schools. And they stormed the field with banners that said things like, "Nobody wins. Yale and Harvard complicit in climate injustice." This was in response to the schools being heavily invested in many fossil fuel companies, despite having students who overwhelmingly oppose climate change. So these protesters stayed on the field and delayed the game for over an hour and did not leave until 42 people were arrested. So while the universities have released statements calling the protests regrettable, many football players, including Wesley Augsbury, the captain of the Harvard football team, has come out in support, and he said, Harvard and Yale can't claim to truly promote knowledge while at the same time supporting the companies that are misleading the public, smearing academics, and denying the truth. So shout out to you, Harvard and Yale students. Over, I would estimate it was between 200 and 300 people at one point were in the middle of the field during the biggest game of the season at halftime. It was a tremendous sight to see. So kudos to you guys who decided to make some shit happen at Harvard and Yale and make sure everybody knows that those schools are still giving money to the people that are turning around and saying, hey, don't listen to those people at Harvard and Yale. They don't know anything about that climate stuff. Keep buying our oil, please. So shout out to them.
Yeah, because when all of the smartest people in the world are saying, hey, guys, things are looking in rough shape, and those companies are like, don't worry about it. It's bad looks, fam. It's bad look, fam. So this is really nice that the kids themselves within that institution are like, yo, let's change these perceptions. Let's change the people's minds that, we're the ones paying you the money. So.
Yeah, it was pretty great. And typically you associate those schools with, students of very high privilege, and you don't typically associate people of high privilege going out there and like protesting, demanding their voices be heard. They might throw some money around and have their voices be heard that way. So this was a great way to see all that taking place from places you might not expect it. Also pretty great is that when the cops started coming around and making it clear they're about to arrest people made it very clear, like, hey, if you're an international student, you need to go at this time. You do not need to get arrested with all of these Yankees right here. So, figure your way out, get out of here, and let the other people, be the ones that get arrested. That was pretty dope, too.
All right, well, shout out to y'all. Let's save the planet a little bit at the time. Sometimes we just need a little bit of hope, and these kids give me hope every single time I see them out there.
It's pronounced Yale, Frank.
That's what I said. Check the tape. Yeah, I said it correctly the whole time.
Yep.
All right. On that note, we're gonna take a quick ass break. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Hey, y'all listeners. It's me again. Old man, y'all. It's that time of the year again, chili season, and I ain't talking about the food. There's still a ways away before gift-giving day, so make sure you get a little something special for your family and friends. Remember, it ain't gotta be expensive to show that you care. Your presence can be a presence. You got 3 weeks. Don't forget it, or you will regret it. Happy holidays.
And we are back for the main event. Meat and potatoes, the seitan and corn. Like, I'm just trying to think of vegan options here.
Got it.
Whatever. The main part of our show, the challenge checkup. Cue sound. Challenge checkup.
Oh, so long ago, I myself, with no help, came out with an amazing idea that changed the whole game up. I said, guys, why don't we challenge each other to be better people this upcoming year? And everyone unanimously agreed that was the best idea they ever heard in their lives. And there were no necessary edits to make that idea better, nor could they, if they tried, come up with anything to improve the quality of that amazing thought that I had. So last saga you saw is complete various goals that we gave each other. And this saga is a little bit different. We each have a personal goal that we chose for ourselves to improve the quality of our own lives, a community goal that improves the lives of the community around us, and a friend goal that we each challenged each other to do. Frank, what else?
We must complete all of these goals by March 1st, 2020. If not, we will each be receiving one of 4 punishments, which include a week without any recreational internet,
Ugh.
2 weeks with no entertainment whatsoever,
Why?
3 weeks with just eating one type of meal for every single type of meal, and because we love our facial hair so gosh darn much, we would have to lose our facial hair for 4 weeks entirely, making us look like small children or just very odd adults.
AKA the babyface challenge.
But if we complete all of these challenges, we will each be receiving a Y'all Boys Talkin' Championship belt, which ranked from a really cool belt if we put in a lot of effort throughout the weeks to a not so great belt if we don't put as much effort in throughout the saga. But we must all complete these goals together on our way to the top. Let's toss it over to old Joshua boy, see how he was doing this week.
Joshua boy, what you got?
What's up, y'all boys? What's up, y'all boys? What's up? This is Josh as a pre-recording. I hope your episode is going really well, and you guys are doing a grand old job. I am reporting my challenge checkup this week, so I'll go ahead and recap what it is. My 3 challenges are as followed. My community challenge is to get speed bumps installed in my neighborhood. My personal challenge is to write a 1-person show, and my friend challenge is to be sober for 90 days, 60 of them being consecutive. So this week, I will start with my community challenge, which I successfully completed a couple weeks ago. So I am waiting to see them develop it. My personal challenge. Okay. So this week, I did a little bit of writing. And I did more conceptual work. I am currently working on a stand-up routine, and I'm taking classes for a stand-up routine, which I think is going to be an instrumental part of my show. However, if you guys smell bullshit in that statement, I'm going to give myself a D. I worked on it a little bit this week, but literally just that, a little bit. I'm still on my first page, and I'm going to get into it next week over the holidays, which I think should be free of any sort of responsibilities because it's the holidays. So that is what I'll be doing with that. I'm understanding and realizing that the clock is ticking. So because I also have to perform this 1-person show, and I need time to rehearse it. So yes, I am going to make diligent efforts to continue adding. However, like I'm in the script, so pedal to the metal. For my friend challenge, I'm going to say it is a F. I have been indulgent and have understanded that, I can do these 30 days at any time. That has gotten into my head. And I'm also realizing that me always indulging is taking away time from me being disciplined. And I'm on a mission of self-discipline. And I've decided, I know I've probably said this last week, but I have this week told all of my enablers around me and also have looked at myself in the mirror and said that I'm going to stop. So I'm going to remain hopeful. And I'm going to take a baby step and be no party favors during the weekdays. At least for this week, I am going to make a concerted effort to do so. And, I understand that I can't always just be led to indulging, even if it was outside of party favors. It is, I think, fair to have a balance if you are going to be indulging in certain activities to keep it moderate and making sure that it doesn't impede any of your progress. So I had a small little incident this week that has nudged me towards the right direction. And I am going to be good this week. So, yeah, I'm going to give myself an F for that one. Anywho, I hope your challenges were a lot better. Can't wait to hear the episode. And bye, audience.
Whoa. Those, Max, what'd you think about those?
I was underwhelmed throughout. And, glad it wasn't me, is how I would summarize it.
It's absurd. But you know what? Let's follow that. What that was with Steve. You're Steve. What's popping?
What up, y'all? Or should I say, what up, Frank and Max? This is my check-in for this past week of my 3 challenges, which has been a pretty interesting turn of events, as I would summarize it. So my 3 challenges are to make and release a video game. My community challenge is to teach digital literacy to the elderly minority citizens of San Francisco. And my friend challenge is to run and train for a 5K marathon. So let me start with the personal challenge, as it's been sadly the most consistent, is that, again, I came around to the meta conceptualization, or it's like, I should probably think about it. I should probably do something about it. And again, it just kind of escaped me. There wasn't really much of a moment that I gave myself this weekend to really think about it. I mean, I really didn't even want to think about it necessarily. I just wanted to just jump in with coding and see if there's maybe something that I could find in just making something. But like I said, I didn't give myself that time this weekend to do that, because most of the other days in the week I kind of prioritized work and just other things, because I was in Utah. So unfortunately, I would give myself an F for that one. And then on to my next one, I would say the community challenge. This is the first week that I've been gone since starting it, and I actually kind of messed up on this one too, because what I was going to be working on was creating a nice graphic for them to use to print out and to advertise the computer classes that I'd be hosting. And yeah, I just wanted to make something a little spiffy to be a bit more eye-catching, and I kind of dropped the ball on that one too. And because I didn't really think that would be enough to compensate, or the other thing that I wanted to do was to pretty much look into other opportunities in Utah to see what I could do during December. And I didn't do that either. So that would be another F, unfortunately. And for my last challenge, the running the 5K, hey, I didn't exactly run a 5K, but I signed up for one. And shout out to Sakura, who hit me up on Twitter and was like, hey, I'm doing these challenges too. And not these exact challenges, but she had something like a physical challenge, and she wanted to sign up for a 5K. So I found the hot chocolate one that was mentioned, I think near the beginning of the podcast. I don't know if they reopened it or something, but it's there. And yeah, I signed up for it. I sent her the link, and she signed up for it, and the official date is January 12th on a Sunday in Golden Gate Park. Be running it, but on top of that, of course, signing up is one thing, but I also ran while I was in Utah. I ran outside for a little under a mile because, man, was it cold, and then I ran in a treadmill for about 1.5 miles. I was really sweaty and gross, and I was watching this thing about flipping houses, like one of those reality TV shows, and it wasn't interesting, but I guess it was enough for me to actually mention it. And I ate at least 2 salads, maybe 3, but we'll just go with 2. Suffice to say, I think compared to the past couple weeks, that this progress is an A, and that I should only start increasing it from here. What do y'all think?
Oh, woo!
Wow.
Look, we
the pride and joy of Team Steve right there.
Yeah, man.
They love that guy.
We've heard some stuff throughout these 37 episodes of Y'all Boys Talking, but like that was something else.
That was some stuff.
All right, but Max, how about you? You kick us off on the live portion. What's poppin'? How was your week?
My week was pretty good. This week, I had 3 challenges. I had a personal goal to enter 3 rock climbing competitions. I have a community goal to join an assisted tech workers coalition. And I got a friend goal to release a 5-track violin EP. So let's talk about the friend goal, 5-track violin EP. This week is pretty good. I transitioned from conceptual work and I actually did some things. So last week I decided that I wouldn't be like transcribing all the songs. And I went on a hunt and I found this amazing YouTuber who performed a lot of like pop songs, a lot of songs written in the last 5 years on the violin, and she had sheet music for a lot of it available. So I just watched a bunch of videos, found the ones that I liked, and then went to her website. She has an amazing blog, and I printed out a bunch of sheet music. So I have a lot of them right here. I won't show you, Frank, because I don't want you to know what songs I'm doing. But I have the paper in my hands before me. And last night I played one song. Well, I practiced one song. I didn't get all the way to the end. But yeah. All that together, I want to give myself a B. I only played once this week, but I feel like I did a lot of work to make it easier for me to actually practice this stuff, in the upcoming weeks and all that stuff.
Damn.
So
yeah. I'll agree with that B. Look at you actually playing stuff. Though for a bit, I was just like, because you were talking about like these pop songs, like these covers for a hot minute now. I was just like, you could do Mary Had a Little Lamb though, right? But I do appreciate Maximo Santana having standards, and wanting to reach those standards. And, if you can do it within,
if I want to put my name on
these,
it,
like, 3.5 months we got left on the show, then more power to you.
It'll happen.
Let's go with that B. What's next?
Yeah. Next up, I got my personal goal to get into 3 rock climbing competitions. And this week was pretty good. Went to the gym twice, which is not as much as I like to go. But I'll let you know what happened to me on my second trip to the gym is I usually ride my bike to the gym. I'm on my way out. And I'll ride up my block, and then there's a driveway that I go down to get onto the street. There was a car blocking the driveway. So I had to just like hop the curb, right? When I hop the curb, I keep bungee cord on the back of my bike just to like secure stuff because I go grocery shopping or, sometimes I'll just have cargo and all that stuff. When I hopped the curb, the bungee cord undid itself from the back, hooked itself onto my chain, dragged the chain off my bike, and then snagged it someplace else, and then like bent one of the gears in the back of my bike. And yeah, my bike is a mess right now. Oh
shit. Yo, that's some Final Destination shit. So,
yeah, I was okay, but my bike, not so much. Hopefully it's not an expensive repair. So I just took my bike back upstairs. I thoroughly pondered saying, hey, I went out there and I tried. I tried to go to the gym, didn't happen. Guess it's not meant to be. But instead I went down and I said, you know what? I could probably get on an electric scooter or a bike or something. And yeah, we have, Ford Go bikes everywhere in San Francisco. So I went literally up the street, clicked the bike open, and then went to the gym right after that. So quick fix for that one, but my bike is effed up. So I also give myself a B for that one. I would love to have given myself an A, but I usually reserve that for going to the gym 3 times a week. But because I faced some hardship and persevered, instead of giving myself a C, I say I deserve a B.
The thing is, with that hardship, I'll go with the B.
You were about to have an inspiring speech about me and my perseverance, Frank, and then you're like, nah.
I had it ready to go. I'm like, no. Yeah, the B makes sense. But yeah, shout out to your heart, right. to you seeing adversity and being like, nah. Because there was one time I wanted to back in the days when I ran, I wanted to run, but then I was just like, yo, actually, I can't run without a dope ass playlist. And then I ended up making a playlist for 3 hours and not running. So
Yeah, I know the struggle. I know the
all
struggle.
right, last one.
All right. Last challenge was to help out the Tech Workers Coalition. This week was awesome because a few weeks ago, Google got into some hot water because they recently hired an anti-union firm to come and do an assessment at the company. And it turns out they actually put 2 employees on administrative leave as well. So these 2 employees were, accused of leaking documents to the press and improperly accessing documents that didn't have permissions to access, all sorts of like pretty serious things in the tech community. Except for these employees say that's not what happened. And they had a rally outside of a Google building on Friday featuring those 2 employees who were out there to speak, share their stories, say exactly what happened to them. Ooh. And it was amazing. It was empowering. It was mostly attended by Google employees, of course, since it was right outside their building. But it was amazing to hear from these employees who, one of them told us like her personal phone got wiped minutes after she got the email saying you've been placed on administrative leave, which is like some sort of sci-fi dystopian stuff. Full disclosure, most of these tech companies do have a policy that if you get your email or your calendar invites on your personal phone, you also have to hand them over the ability to like wipe your phone remotely and all that stuff. So it wasn't that creepy, but it was a terrible thing to do. She's a trans woman that is just completing her transition, and a lot of the photos that bookmarked her journey through transitioning were deleted while she did that, which is just like a personal FU that the company did not have to do. That really got rid of some memories for this person, which sucked a lot. So it was great. Saw some people there that had organized some previous action with before, and just went up and said like, hey, anything I can do, you let Maximo know, and if anything happens from that, it happens. But I think that also helps. In the past, you might have heard me talk about how difficult it is to like break into these circles because, people are always afraid of retaliation, right? Which was the whole point of the event we had on Friday, right? These people feel like they were retaliated against. One of them had circulated a petition against ICE in the past, right? And had been involved in a lot of organization efforts at the office at Google in the past. So both of them really feel like they didn't break any of those like leaking to the press or improper access rules. They're most likely being affected because of the previous action they had months ago, organizing employees to like stand up against ICE or other, terrible policies that the company was trying to roll out. They really feel like it was retaliation. And the story that they gave, pretty consistent with a few points that Google's putting out. So it just really seems like they're being unfairly targeted. But went there, showed my face, and I think I deserve an A.
If you had just gone up there and shown your face, because the story's good, it's crazy, but I was just like, all right, but what did Max do on this part? But the fact that you're like, hey, is there anything I can do? I'm down. That's where the A comes in.
Bam. Did that
That's
just
where
for
the
Frank.
A comes in. Just like I'm like I've been waiting 14 weeks, Max. 14 weeks for you just to be like, hey, what can I do? So I'm glad you went to the thing.
Yeah.
Yo, these tech companies need to be checked because
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Lest we forget. So Max, that's a BBA. That's
A. Better Businesses of America.
Better Businesses America. Big Bureau
of
Albuquerque.
With the big bureau. Just the largest bureau in Albuquerque.
Just the biggest bureau in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
All right. So
Frank, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Oh, me? All right.
Yeah.
So I got 3 goals. My personal goal is to create 4 music videos. My community goal is to become a mentor for big brothers and big sisters. And my friend goal is to cook twice a week with 1 new recipe every single week.
Damn.
Okay, so let's start with the music videos. So hashtag Team Frank is rallying. Did really good for like 2 weeks. And and then let's go to this week.
Yeah.
I'll get into it more in my thorn, but something came up that all of a sudden I was just like, oh shit, I need to make sure to invest some time in this as well. So it definitely cut down the amount of time I was actually able to work on my regular music video. So last time I did my V1, and I've been working on my V2 as far as like of my first music video, working on transitions and color and things like that, going back and forth. I'm like, oh, should it all be black and white? Should like these things be highlighted? Should this be done? Should that be done? And I went in, I finagled with the colors for like an hour, but I didn't really get that much done. So I feel that I should probably schedule a bit more time next week. So I would, but I did work on the color a bit. So maybe a C would be nice.
It would be nice. I agree. Yeah, you know, if you were like everything's peaches and rainbows and I just did the color, I'd be like, oh, that's a D. But if shit's popping off and you gotta find time here and there, I could agree with a C.
So my next goal is my community goal to become a mentor for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So once again, I'm waiting until January for them to, you know, set me up for the round of interviews so I can eventually become a big and meet my little and all that good stuff that I am really hoping to gets here sooner than later. Like,
Right.
You know, I was really gung ho. I'm still gung ho since the beginning, but you know, obviously I don't run their system, so you know, just waiting for them to bring me in. So in the interim, I've been reading this book called The Body Keeps Score, Brain, Mind, Body, and the Healing of Trauma, in order to get myself more mentally prepared and whatnot for the challenges that are forthcoming. And one of the things that I came across that I absolutely loved and like really kind of like hit home. So a couple weeks ago, I talked about the idea that, you know, if we have stuff on our minds that we're not addressing, we're literally getting ourselves sick. We're literally getting ourselves sick. And this little thing like really kind of like brought it home to me. Our culture teaches us to focus on the personal uniqueness, but at a deeper level, we barely exist as individual organisms. Our brains are built to help us function as members of a tribe. We are part of that tribe even when we are by ourselves, whether we're listening to music that other people made, watching a basketball game on television, our own muscles tensing as the players run and jump, or preparing a spreadsheet for a sales meeting, anticipating the boss's reactions. Most of our energy is devoted to connecting with others. For our physiology to calm down, heal, and grow, we need a visceral feeling of safety. No doctor can write a prescription for friendship and love.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So it really kind of like... It really kind of nails the idea that how much we need other people in our everyday life.
Absolutely.
Like,
I always tell people, like, if some giant organism that was, you know, the size of a planet came to our planet and looked at what was going on, they'd be like, oh, this is like a wet rock with like some stuff growing on the side, you know? And certainly they wouldn't be able to tell, you know, Jerome from Rebecca, right? Even if they might be able to identify that there is a species, you know, between all the green stuff, right, and the water. You know, every once in a while there's like a concrete location and it's full of people or whatever they call this, right? But they would all look like one thing that's just like swarming about, going about its business, right? And it would look like we're pretty highly coordinated, right? Like the systems we create, like, you know, companies and organizations and clubs to like act as one are pretty great. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, those are very intentional things that we have to put a lot of time, energy, and effort into because we can't read each other's minds, because we need to communicate. We need to find people that, you know, have the same interests or like-minded to a certain extent to, you know, help us out in this world, right? And again, like Frank said, a doctor can't prescribe that. That's something you got to go out and find yourself, right? And I think that's all because, you know, we all want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. We all want to contribute to something larger, but it doesn't, you know, you're not born with the ability to execute on that. You have to like gain a bunch of skills and then go out there and make it happen. So you got to.
It's beautiful. Everything that we do is to connect with each other, and like just that idea, like really, you know, brings a warm feeling in my heart. But anyway, all that being said, I would give myself an A. Because I'm still like flying through this book. It's really fascinating, and until like Big Brothers Big Sisters says like, "Yo, Frank, get on over here," I'm I'm gonna just keep expanding my own knowledge base.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and heavily disagree. I think you should have found a proxy child to mentor this week, Frank, and then abandon them as soon as you get your real child, because that's how you practice. All right, FYI. Proxy child. Wherever you get those. Your local source of proxy children, whatever that might be. All right, I'll leave that up to you.
Where you find said proxy children is up to you.
I don't care. No. It is fine. All right, so
wonderful. Let's
keep going. What about your friend goal?
And lastly, my friend goal is to cook twice a week with one new recipe every week. I think I've hit the I hit a groove. I think I hit a groove.
Okay.
Because the second week or third week I was just like, ooh, that's gonna be really tough when I'm gonna be doing the meal prepping. But you know what? For a number of weeks now, I've been meal prepping and doing new recipes with them.
Frank is a meal prepper now?
It's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. I've been doing it. And this week I made one of the new recipes, which was a buffalo chicken casserole. So the recipe from my book about ketogenic comfort foods and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that one went really well. It went a lot less zany than the one I did a couple weeks ago where I tried to make a country fried steak and then just like sous vide it in La Croix.
What a travesty.
It was dude, that's the worst meal I think I've ever made. Like,
yeah.
To this day, I was just like, how I fucked it up in every single level.
Hey man,
but this week,
all of us have a version of I call it spaghetti and hot dogs.
Spaghetti and hot dogs.
When you just
hot
like,
dogs and rice.
I'm just trying out here.
Give it a shot. Yeah. But yeah, it was good. I did this buffalo chicken casserole.
Nice.
It was fine. It wasn't one of the best ones that I made throughout the week, but it was perfectly doable. It stopped me from buying Uber Eats throughout the week.
That's the goal.
And keeping me in check. And then the other times, I would just make the things that I typically make. Eggs and bacon or protein pancakes or just recipes that I already know in the backlog.
Pull something out the repertoire.
In my repertoire, exactly. I'm building it up.
You get this motherfucker got a set list. You got a repertoire.
Exactly. So like when I go on stage, I could fucking cook up a really nice.
yeah. You're gonna have a greatest hits album soon, Frank.
Exactly. You're picking up that metaphor.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone listening got that metaphor.
I want to go back on one point. So you said you're meal prepping now. You've been meal prepping for a few weeks now. It sounds
about 3
like.
weeks. Yeah.
So how has meal prepping changed how I guess you eat or cook or go about your life?
So one of the biggest things is that when I come home from work, I typically come home like fairly late. I get out of the office like at 7 p.m. and then with Los Angeles traffic, the earliest I typically get home is like 8 p.m.
Damn.
And then because I wake up at 4:45 in the morning to go to the gym, I try not to stay up too late. So I go to sleep at around 10. So that means I technically have about 2 hours of quote unquote free time between getting home and going to sleep. So I usually have to come up with something to do with those times. And something that was really a hindrance, especially in the early weeks, was trying to cook during that time. Which is why I always relegated to like Uber Eats or like fast food or frozen dinners, because it was just something really quick that I could just do and just like put food inside myself.
Right. And I'm sure like when you get home, the last thing you want to do is something that, takes a lot of time and energy and effort, like cooking a whole meal.
Damn straight.
Right.
Like, I come home from work and I'm like, I already put out all my effort and energy. I just want to watch wrestling and eat trash. So now I watch wrestling and eat stuff I've cooked on Sunday.
Hey, there you go.
That's actually not bad for me.
So you do your meal prep on Sunday.
I do it Sundays. I typically do it Sunday right after we record.
Oh, look at that.
So I have everything ready to go. Like I've been putting in the fridge, but I think I might just freeze them now, make my own frozen dinners. I think that makes sense too.
That's a lot healthier. Yeah, it's a lot, it's only a week old as opposed to other frozen stuff you have might have been frozen for months and all that stuff. So
exactly. It's all fresh and shit. So yeah, I would give myself an A. I'd give myself an A for like really feeling a lot more comfortable in the kitchen throughout all these weeks. It took some time, but I'm stoked about it.
You cooked something new, you cooked something old. That's how you get an A, Frank.
All right. So this has been our week. Max and I did pretty good, and you guys already know how.
Josh and Steve. You
Josh
already
and Steve. Know. Oh boy, like how they did their weeks. That was either similar to us or not similar to us.
Yeah, and you guys already know And we're going to find out at some point in the future.
All right, y'all. So we're going to take a quick old break for our final segment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What? No. Shit. Not enough time to get your work done? Feeling too tired for your workout at the end of the day? Then try waking up earlier.
I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but when I started using waking up early, it was like adding hours to my day. Now I have time to make breakfast and get to work on time. I'm a whole new me. Thanks, waking up early.
Every morning used to be a struggle. It's still a struggle, but at least I get all my shit done. Thanks to waking up early, I can have a cigarette before I take the kids to school, and that really takes the edge off. Thanks, waking up early.
Waking up early is made possible in part by your alarm. Avoid annoying alarms that make waking up unpleasant. Snooze too much? Use apps like Alarmy that make you answer questions before you can turn it off. Waking up early is not recommended for everybody. Make sure you get your 6 to 8 hours.
And we are back for our final segment, our rose, our bud, and our thorn. Cue song.
Oh, I got my rose, I got my bud, I got my thorn. Here is the rose and thorn and the bud of the week. I got my rose and my thorn and my bud.
Rosebud Thorn is our weekly gratitude reminder to look at our week and say, like, hey, you know what? This is where we are in the world. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yep, that's what we do. Our rose is something throughout the past week that went great. Our thorn is something that was a bit of a in our side.
No.
And our bud is something we're looking forward to next week.
Mm-hmm.
Max, what you got?
Oh boy, I got a thorn, I got a rose, I got a bud.
Oh yes, please tell us about this thorn, Max.
My thorn is that I booked my Thanksgiving flight for a week before Thanksgiving, like a fool. And I didn't request those days off. I didn't pack. It just like crept up on me when I got an email that's like, hey, I'm at work on Wednesday morning. It's like, check into your flight. And I'm like, what flight? And then, turns out I had already missed it at that. My Thanksgiving flight, which was for a week before Thanksgiving. And, I would have rather had watched the money burn as opposed to pay for a flight and then miss it. So that was definitely my thorn. So
damn, my G.
Yeah. Which kind of rolls into my bud, though. So my bud, though, instead of going to Miami for Thanksgiving, I'll be driving down to LA and I'll be hanging out with Steve and Frank and a bunch of other people, formerly of Miami, in Los Angeles. And we're going to have a good old Thanksgiving with a bunch of family, friends, and love in Los Angeles, California. So that's my bud. I'm looking forward to that. My rose, though, has been solitude. So for the past week, one of my roommates has been in London. One of my roommates has been in Salt Lake City. So I've been living on my own for almost a week. No, since Friday. No, since Sunday. Yes, for a week. Today, it has been 1 week of Max living on his own. And guess what? Didn't burn the apartment down even once. So I think I'm doing great. Yeah. And just some background on that. So I've never lived alone in my life. And I've had like just little periods of time where, everyone else is out doing their own thing. And this is one of those. And it makes me wonder, like, can I handle it? Could I, survive living by myself? I think I can. So I just like knowing that. So we'll see if one day that leads to Max's solo adventure. But for right now, it's good knowing that I can. What I'm always interested in is like what are my standards when I'm the only person that sees my messes?
Oh shit!
Right? Like, what does my hamper look like? What does the sink look like when only I can see it? Right? And the answer is, hey, my hamper is empty, and the sink is also pretty empty. So, I'm impressing myself in the simplest of ways.
That's wonderful. That's keeping a clean place is a big is a big part of it. I'm definitely doing a lot of cleaning now, but that's for a whole nother reason. Mm-hmm. So let me go into my bad boys. Mm-hmm. My thorn throughout the week was so I was working on my music video, and then I remembered, remember those 2 other music videos that I needed to do?
Okay.
So they came back in a big way.
Oh, yeah?
And then all of a sudden, like, oh, hey, here's some deadlines that we need to hit. I'm like, what?
That's real?
Basically was my reaction to it, where I was just like, I was kind of cruising along, hashtag Team Frank is rallying, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Completely ignoring those other important videos that kind of need to get done by January. And I need to adjust my time accordingly in order to get those done, and also finishing those priorities that I needed to get done beforehand. Mm-hmm. So that kind of bounced there. So I kind of felt a bit overwhelmed in the middle of the week, where I was just like, oh no, like, what am I going to do? Is this even something that I want to do? And every time I kind of end up in that kind of spiral, I always realize I'm just like, nigga, you just need to just work on it. Just start. Because worrying about starting it wastes more time than actually starting it.
Correct. That is not a productive move.
Worrying, if you worry, you suffer twice. So just fucking do it. So yeah, I just kind of need to wake myself up and be like, all right, just fucking do it. And then typically what we end up finding is the more we actually do our work, the more free time we end up having.
The more you chip away at it, the less there's to chip away at.
Facts. Yeah. All right. So my rose was, I can now talk about it since it's out. I worked on this Sony Black Friday commercial for a number of weeks now, and it's finally out. It looks really cool and whatnot. I'm stoked. But the reason it's a thorn is not the fact that I did it. It's the fact that it's done. It was one of the toughest projects I've worked at my job. There's a lot of moving pieces to it. There's a lot of like back and forth, but there's a nice little piece at the end of it that y'all can see. We'll throw it in the link in the description so you can check it out. But I'm big sigh of relief to have that kind of like albatross out of my way.
Ooh.
And my bud is obviously Wednesday. It's obviously Thanksgiving. We're recording this right before Thanksgiving. Y'all be listening to it after Thanksgiving. But yeah, it's coming up. Max's shenanigans, while with Little Crazy, kind of shook things up a little bit. So hence how our scheduling ended up with just the Max and Frank show. Mm-hmm. But all the positives is like, hey, we get to do the Max and Frank show. So not too bad. We get to try this out, tell us what you guys think of in the comments and all that. But also the fact that Max will be out here for Thanksgiving, and that's exciting. So initially, we wasn't going to see Max there, so it was a bummer. But now that he's going to be out here, it's going to be dope and awesome.
Blessing
and of course, most importantly out of all that, my lady's coming out here, and I'm incredibly excited to see her and spend all that time with her. We're going to Vegas together. We're going to be doing just a bunch of like dope ass things. And I'm super duper excited to see her and have just a wonderful number of days, because I don't get to see her very often. So this is super awesome.
Aww.
All right, y'all. That completes the first New York only edition of Y'all Boys Talkin'.
Recorded in California.
Recorded in California. Full New Yorker edition. There we go.
Yeah.
Full New Yorker edition of Y'all Boys Talkin'. If you like what you hear, obviously, hit us up on Twitter, on the Instagrams, DM, tell your friends, tell a cat that can, use the internet to put a comment. Fucking, what else can they do, Max?
They can just, enjoy it like between their ears and be like, wow, that was a good podcast, and just continue on their lives knowing that they ingested something that bettered themselves,
Beautiful. Thank y'all for listening. We'll catch you next week. Deuces.
We have a couple shout outs we want to give. Shout out to Adian Lewis for our interstitial music, to Geno Music for our wonderful theme song called Won't Stop. To learn more about our challenges, go to y'allboystalkin.com or follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at y'allboystalkin. New episodes every single Wednesday.